There we go. Good morning, grade 5 and 6. It's Mrs. Becker. I hope you guys had a great long weekend. I'm still trying to find the best way to do this video. Try not to have you see my ugly bulletin board there. Oh man, I'll figure it out. Anyways, I hope you guys had a great long weekend. I am really excited to start our first read aloud with you guys today. It's called Rowley Jefferson's Awesome Friendly Adventure, and it's by Jeff Kinney. And I don't know if you can see that, but with help from Greg Heffley, and you can see the arrow there. And so he's the illustrator, right? So that's kind of a cool way to show that. So I'm going to share this book with you. Normally, if you were in grade 5 and 6, we would either do it in the morning when you came in, or we would do it during the day in our daily 5. We would do read to self, right? Read to someone, and listening to reading. So this would be part of your listening to reading. So you guys, your job this week is to kind of create a little section in your binder where you can put the title of the book, Rowley Jefferson's Awesome Friendly Adventure. So you might want to pause it there so you can spell it right. And then you're going to put the author, Jeff Kinney. This is backwards, so that's kind of funny. I'm going to struggle with that for sure. I want to point over here. That's Jeff Kinney. And the author's Greg Heffley, so that can be at the very top of your page. And then we're just going to keep a summary of things that happened, chapter 1, chapter 2, just so that you can show me that you're understanding what's going on, and we can, I might ask you some questions to answer in your little journal entry. So it doesn't have to be very long. I do want it to be full sentences, not just point form, but it's just kind of to make sure that we're all following along and we're listening and we're thinking about what we're reading too when it's being read to us, because that actually is an important skill. Okay, so Rowley Jefferson's Awesome Friendly Adventure. Try and show you the pictures. There's got to be a better way to do this. Chapter 1. Don't lick your fingers. I got to sanitize after that now. Once upon a time, in a faraway land, there lived a boy named Roland. I'm going to have to bring it over here. And Roland was a very good boy. Back then, school hadn't been invented yet, so most kids worked on their family farms all day. But Roland's parents thought it was important for their son to get an education and to learn to play an instrument. So he spent his days inside, reading books and practicing the flute. Roland didn't like practicing the flute very much, but he never complained because he wanted to be a good son. You can see him up here. There he is practicing. It was a dangerous time when ogres and giants roamed the land, so Roland's parents liked him to stay indoors where it was safe, especially after dark. Kind of funny. It says, time to come inside, Roland. There's his dad. Sweet stash, Roland's dad. Very cool. Okay, there we go. Roland had never even been outside his village. He wished he could go on adventures like his grandpa Bampi, the brave, who used to fight monsters and search for treasure. But Bampi was never the same after he got back from his adventures, and Roland knew that was because Bampi didn't always wear his helmet, and he got hit on the head a few too many times. See that picture there? Whoop. There's Bampi. Looks like he's fighting dragons. Oh, bonked on the head. Roland promised his parents that if he went on an adventure, he'd always wear a helmet and that he'd make good choices. But they said he'd be much safer staying at home and practicing his flute. So the only thing Roland could do was read stories about Bampi and imagine what it would be like to have adventures of his own. It's kind of like us right now a little bit, right? A lot of us are like, oh, it's safer for us to stay at home, right? And in some ways it is, right? So sometimes after Roland read about monsters in Bampi's stories, he'd get kind of scared. And then he'd have to sleep in his parents' bed for a few nights. But his parents probably didn't mind because they loved him very much. There's his family. Gotta get this figured out. Most of the time, Roland's dad worked from home, but once or twice a month, he'd go on a business trip to another village. And Roland's dad would always say the same thing when he left. Look after your mother, son. And give him a pat on the head. Right now, you're probably thinking, so far, this is a pretty boring book. But just wait, because in a second, it's about to get really good. This one morning when Roland's dad was on one of his trips, something totally crazy happened. Roland woke up early to practice his flute, but then